This brings us to our next figure, David Hume.
Well, it's time to press on in our modern philosophy introduction. We're going to talk about Hume today.
David Hume.
For Hume, you got impressions. This is the evidence of the senses, and these impress upon the senses and create ideas. You put the ideas together and you end up with belief or knowledge.
Hume has some interesting things to say about impressions and ideas, and the distinction between them, some of it recounted here. One way he distinguishes impressions and ideas is by their vividness. He says that impressions are very vivid. These are when we're having direct experience of something, whereas ideas are our recollections of the impressions and are less vivid.
So your ideas are like copies of impressions. And the way you distinguish between the impressions and the ideas is the impressions are just more vivid. They got more vivacity, more strength.
Hume also distinguishes two kinds of knowledge. There are matters of fact, which are known by impressions directly, and then there are relations of ideas, which are like inferences. But there's a problem. You see, some kinds of knowledge that we think we have don't fit into either category, such as knowledge of external objects. After all, when we turn our heads, we no longer see them directly.
Knowledge of external objects? Well, I only know that. I only have a direct impression of that when I'm looking at the objects. So I don't know they exist when I'm not looking at them, nor can I deduce it through any relation of ideas.
Also, we don't know that we ourselves remain the same through time.
I have no direct impression of a stable self through time, nor can I deduce it through any relation of ideas.
That's difficult. We also can't even know that regular relations of cause and effect hold.
For instance, this hammer hitting this TV like this, well, I know it broke it the first time, but how do I know it's going to break the next one?
So the question for Hume is, where do these ideas that we're not sure how we know come from?
Well, all knowledge comes from impressions or relations of ideas. Have no direct impression or can deduce any of these things, and therefore I actually don't have knowledge of them.
For instance, how does the observer know that hitting the new TV with a hammer will break it too? One answer is by direct observation, but the problem with that is that the future event hasn't happened yet. Another response is that it's by inference, but what inference could possibly lead to the conclusion that the next result will be just like the last result? So this leads Hume to a different kind of explanation of where this idea of necessary connection between causes and effects comes from. Hume says that it comes from the constant conjunction within our past experiences of events of the one kind, what we end up calling the cause, and events of the other kind, what we end up calling the effect. We come to the conclusion that it's always the case that the first event leads to the second event, based on this constant conjunction. But this isn't really a form of knowledge, it's more just a form of habit or programming, kind of like in B.F. Skinner. This leads Hume to say that we don't actually know these things and to shrug off his problem with them.
Hume, are you saying that philosophy proves we have no knowledge of self, objects, or causal relations? How can you sleep at night? And Hume says, well, I just don't take it so seriously.